In 2024, the last of 4 dams came down on the Klamath River, and the salmon came back within 10 days. That part of the story is true. But 2 years later, the data reveals something the news cameras did not capture. Nearly 70,000 Chinook returned in 2025, which was double what anyone predicted. Yet the spring run still sits at just a few hundred fish. Wild horses are grazing through the restoration, and 2 dams remain standing at the head of the river. This is what happens after the celebration ends. Pacific Fishery Management Council released its review in March of 2026, and the numbers stopped researchers cold. Total Chinook salmon returning to the Klamath Basin in 2025 came in at 69,852 fish. That number includes all ages and hatchery fish. But the adult fall-run Chinook, the ones that actually spawn, hit 39,860. The preseason forecast had predicted just 19,417 adults. The actual return came in at 205% of that prediction. Dan Troxel, an environmental scientist with California Department of Fish and Wildlife, put it this way. The preseason adult projection for 2025 was approximately 28,600 fish, and we definitely achieved that with 51,400 returning adults. The escapement objective was met to the tune of double. A sonar station below the former Iron Gate Dam site counted approximately 10,000 adult-sized fish in fall of 2025. That figure landed 30% higher than the previous fall. The fish are not just coming back. They are coming back in larger numbers each year. March of 2026 brought something that had not happened since before World War I. The Klamath Tribe's Ambodot Department documented naturally produced Chinook salmon that had hatched in the upper Klamath Basin for the first time in 100 years. 2 rotary screw traps installed in the Sprague River and the Williamson River caught the young fish on March 18th. The parents of these newly hatched salmon had traveled 230 miles from the Pacific Ocean, swimming through water their species had not touched for generations. Klamath Tribe's chairman William E. Ray Jr. called it the Creator's will of the unwritten natural laws which are allowed to be part of us again. But he added a warning. It cannot be complete unless you have a fishable population of fish. The hatch proves the river works again. It does not prove the salmon have fully recovered. When the dams came down, the river turned brown. Social media lit up with people asking if the project had failed. The United States Geological Survey answered that question in May of 2026 at the European Geosciences Union General Assembly. A collaborative study between USGS, the Karuk Tribe Water Quality Program, and the Yurok Tribe Environmental Department tracked sediment across 300 river kilometers downstream of the former dam sites. Peak suspended sediment concentration during the reservoir drawdowns hit approximately 30,000 milligrams per liter. The river corridor turned out to be coarse-grained, which helped transport the fine sediment without long-term deposition. The models predicted this exact outcome. The real world matched the models. Within months, water clarity returned. Josh Cahill from the Yurok Tribe Environmental Department said people no longer need to worry about health effects from direct contact with river water with regard to microcystin, the liver toxin that used to bloom in those stagnant reservoirs. The river cleaned itself exactly the way the scientists said it would. But here's where the story gets more complicated. A separate USGS study released on May 19, 2026, documented something researchers had never measured before. Rain on wildfire events in the Klamath Basin can strip oxygen from the river, dropping dissolved oxygen to 0 for over 5 hours. That creates anoxic conditions that kill fish. The study focused on the McKinney Fire of 2022, which burned through the basin before the dams were removed. When rain fell on the burned landscape, the runoff carried ash and organic material into the river. Microbes went to work breaking it down, and that process consumed all the available oxygen. This was the first published documentation of a rain on wildfire event, directly linked to lethal water quality conditions in a large river. The research brought together USGS, the Karuk Tribe, and the Yurok Tribe again. Cahill noted that through this unique partnership between USGS, the Yurok Tribe, and the Karuk Tribe, we are able to track the Klamath River's ever-changing conditions in real time. The dams are gone, but wildfire now poses a threat that no dam removal could have solved. May of 2026 brought another kind of validation. The American Council of Engineering Companies gave the Klamath River Renewal Project its top award, the Grand Conceptor. Macmillan, a Boise-based firm, received the award for its work on what the council called the world's largest dam removal, resulting in successful restoration of more than 400 miles of habitat. The project cost landed at $504 million, completed on time and within budget. That matters for two reasons. One, the engineering community now formally recognizes the project as a success. Two, every future dam removal fight will point to this award as proof that large-scale restoration is possible. September 24th, 2025 marked a milestone that got almost no media attention. Chinook salmon ascended the fish ladder at Keno Dam for the first time since the dam was built. Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife confirmed the sighting. The fish had pushed farther upstream than any Chinook in generations. Keno Dam is not one of the four that came down. It sits at the base of Upper Klamath Lake, and it is still standing. So is Link River Dam. Both serve irrigation and flood control functions. The original wooden dam at that site failed in the 1960s, causing massive flooding, and the current structures were built in response to those floods. The United States Bureau of Reclamation now controls both dams. The Klamath does not yet run free from its actual source, and no active removal campaign has gained traction for these remaining barriers. 2,200 acres. That is the size of the exposed reservoir beds that have been revegetated with native plants. The restoration crews spread climate-adapted seed mixes across the former lake beds as the water pulled back. 3.5 miles of tributary restoration have been completed. More than 400 river miles now flow freely. The Society for Ecological Restoration documented these figures in May of 2026. To put 2,200 acres in perspective, that is roughly the size of 1,600 American football fields. Land that sat under stagnant water for a century is now planted with willows, native grasses, and other vegetation. The largest riparian restoration effort ever attempted in the United States is happening on the Klamath right now. Barry McCovey, who runs the Yurok Tribe's Fisheries Department, said after the dams came down that dam removal is a massive step in the right direction, but one step in the journey toward full balance and restoration of the Klamath system still has many ahead of it. The fall Chinook are doing better than anyone expected. The water quality has improved significantly. The first natural hatch in a century proves the river functions again. But the spring Chinook run, which was historically the largest Chinook population in the entire basin, has fallen to just a few hundred fish. Those fish use the upper river as their primary spawning ground, exactly the habitat that sat behind locked gates for over a century. The water is accessible again, but a population that small does not recover on its own timetable. Recovery will be uneven. Annual precipitation, diversion levels, ocean conditions, and prevailing weather patterns all affect run size. The Klamath still faces a long road to large-scale ecosystem restoration success. The Klamath outcome is being watched closely by advocates for Snake River Dam removal in Washington, though the political landscape there has shifted. The 4 dams on the lower Snake River are far larger than the Klamath dams and far more economically integrated into the regional grid. They generate significantly more power and support a shipping channel that moves grain from the interior to Portland. But the Klamath proved that dam removal can work at scale. A $504 million project completed, on time, and within budget. Salmon returning at double the predicted rate. Water quality improving beyond pre-dam levels. That proof has value. Every dam removal fight in the United States now has the Klamath as a case study. In 2024, the last barrier came down, and the Klamath ran free for the first time since 1918. The salmon came back within 10 days. Nearly 70,000 returned the following year. The first natural hatch in a century happened in March of 2026. The water is cleaner. The toxic algae is clearing. 2,200 acres are being replanted. The engineering world just gave the project its highest award, but the spring Chinook is still hanging on by a thread. Wildfire now threatens the river in ways no one predicted. 2 dams still stand at the headwaters, and 100 years of damage does not get erased in 2 years. The Klamath is healing, but healing takes time. What the data shows is that the river knows what to do when you get out of the way. It just needs more than 10 days. It needs more than 2 years. It needs a generation, and for the first time in a century, it has that chance.